This is a story about Navy SEAL training and deals with one problem that happened during Hell Week. The title of the story, A Free Ride. While much has been written about Hell Week, it seems that there is always one more story that begs to be told. And for those trainees who survive this week of hell, Hell Week will provide many unforgettable memories. During Hell Week, there are no gifts, no easy times, no fun times, and certainly no free rides. Or is there? I can recall one instance when a member of the boat crew to which I was assigned actually received a free ride. It was the fourth morning of Hell Week, and we had already spent several hours at the obstacle course. The course is comprised of approximately 20 obstacles, each one harder than the last. This is another way for the instructors to determine which trainees have the heart and desire to continue and which do not. The obstacle course had been designed to make it extremely difficult to complete every obstacle without making a mistake. Mistakes then led to punishment at the hands of the instructors. For those who did navigate the course successfully, the instructors would look at the time it took the trainee to complete the course and then use his time against him. Basically, it was impossible to complete the course to the instructor's satisfaction. But the main thing to remember is the fact that it is the boat crew, not the individual, that receives the grade for how well the obstacle course is completed. You are therefore only as strong as the weakest member of your boat crew. During Hell Week, you compete as a boat crew against all other boat crews. If a single member of your boat crew does poorly on the obstacle course, the entire boat crew must suffer. Punishment most assuredly means you will be required to spend some time in the cold water of the Pacific Ocean. It also means that you will be required to conduct physical training, including a series of exercises with a waterlogged telephone pole. And those exercises will be done in the ocean shallows or nearby sand. You do these exercises until you feel your arms are going to drop off, and you cannot possibly do them any longer. Then, when the instructors are satisfied that you have been punished sufficiently, you go back to the obstacle course to start again. Before long, each boat crew is in the same fix, and everyone is being punished. In reality, this is the way the instructors intended it to be. At this point of Hell Week, men are dropping like flies. One of the major contributors to this is hypothermia. A trainee is constantly wet and cold, and there is nothing he can do to prevent it. And from this, the instructors will determine just how far each trainee can be pushed before breaking, and which are the men with that extra something that prevents him from quitting. Another problem that comes into play is the sand. Because you are wet and continually crawling in the sand, you are covered with it, both on the inside of your clothes as well as the outside. You collect sand in your groin area as well as your socks around your ankles. After a while, the sand starts to cut and chafe, and over time, the cuts become so bad that in some cases, merely walking is torture. In several instances, I saw trainees whose socks were blood red from serious cuts that resulted from this chafing. Then, when these men entered the ocean and the salt water came into contact with their cuts and abrasions, you could see them languish in pain. If you have ever seen someone sit in extremely hot water and heard the sound that they make as they suck in their breath, you will know what I mean. That is the sound made by these men. For many, it became so unbearable that they were forced to quit the program. For others, it didn't matter. They wouldn't quit no matter how bad their cuts or how severe the pain. We continued performing exercises and enduring punishment at the obstacle course until noon. Each boat crew was then ordered to lift and place on their heads their IBS. The boat weighs nearly 200 pounds and is manned by a boat crew of 7 men. When you are not in the water, you carry the boat on your head wherever you go. Now, there is no way I can explain the pain associated with carrying this boat on your head. It is difficult with 7 men, but it becomes nearly impossible with fewer. Walking is difficult enough, but when you are forced to run and the boat is bouncing up and down, driving your neck down into your shoulders, it becomes almost unbearable. As our boat crew was going to head carry, Mr. Paul, the officer in charge of our boat crew and also our boat coxswain, made some smart remark to Doc Barber, one of our instructors. Don't ask me why, because Barber was an individual capable of bringing undue punishment upon the members of our boat crew. The truth is, Doc Barber truly liked Mr. Paul, but he enjoyed punishing us for the things Mike did, and this time was no different. At this juncture of training, our boat crew consisted of 6 men, 5 enlisted and 1 officer. One of the enlisted men, named Tom, a second-class petty officer, stood about 6 feet tall and weighed about 220 pounds. He was muscular and had the look of a person who belonged in the teams. The other members of the boat crew were of average build, but were very capable of carrying their own weight. Doc Barber then smiled and told Tom, the heaviest member of our boat crew, to get into the IBS. He then ordered the remaining 5 of us to lift the boat onto our heads. We found it nearly impossible to lift the boat. It was awkward and shifted from side to side with the extra weight of the man inside. When we did finally manage to raise the boat to our heads, Doc Barber told Mr. Paul to come out from under the boat and join him. Then, with Tom in the boat and the boat on our heads, the 4 of us were ordered to run from the strand to the mess hall, a distance of roughly 1/2 mile. There is no way to explain the pain experienced during that run from the strand to the mess hall. When the head and neck pain became too excruciating, we would try to carry the boat on our shoulders, but that did little to help. For each step we took, the boat became heavier, and moving the IBS from head to shoulder and back became even harder. The pain that I felt was like nothing I had experienced to that point in training. When we did reach the mess hall, we dumped the boat, Tom and all, and the 4 of us fell to the ground, too fatigued to go in and eat. Then the unexpected happened. Tom looked at us and calmly announced that he was quitting the program. Larry and I looked at each other, but were too stunned and exhausted to do anything when we heard this. I didn't know if I was angrier with Tom for quitting or with Mr. Paul for putting us in this predicament. If Tom had quit when we were still at the obstacle course, or even on the way back, it would have changed all that had transpired. Doc Barber would have been busy dealing with Tom and therefore would have had to postpone our punishment until later. However, to this day, there is one thing that I am certain of. During the training of Class 28, Tom was the only man given a free ride. If you enjoyed this story and would like to have a signed copy of my book, go to www.udt-seal-stories.com and I will send you a signed copy. If you prefer the Kindle version, go to amazon.com, books, type in Nick Nicholson. Thank you.